All right, something huge is brewing in the world of entertainment. An alliance is forming that could honestly change everything. We've got a titan from the world of gaming teaming up with a titan from the world of streaming. So what exactly happens when the Mushroom Kingdom decides to go to war with the Magic Kingdom? Let's get into it.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just some boring business deal. This is a direct challenge. For the first time, maybe ever, there's another world of fantasy, of heroes, and yeah, of castles, that has a real shot at the throne that the House of Mouse has held for so long. This is the new front line.
So a new challenger appears. How is this all actually taking shape? Well, it all starts by building an alliance around some of the most beloved characters from the past 40 years and aiming them right at the heart of the franchise movie business. Here's how it all fits together. You know, fans have been dreaming about this for decades, seeing these incredible worlds get a proper big screen adaptation. We're talking about characters and stories that have defined childhoods for generations now. And after being famously, maybe even infamously, protective for years, Nintendo is finally making its move on Hollywood. And believe me, their choice of partner says everything about how big they're planning to go.
So, let's just give this thing a name, right? The Nintendo Cinematic Universe, or the NCU. And let's be super clear. This is not about a single movie. No way. This is the start of a whole interconnected world. And the most crucial piece of the puzzle? After the movies hit theaters, the entire universe is going to live exclusively on Netflix. It's going to be the official streaming home of the NCU. The partnership itself is, well, it's this fascinating three-headed monster. First, you've got a Nintendo, the undisputed IP powerhouse with the keys to the kingdom. Then you have Netflix, who snagged the exclusive streaming rights, and that is a huge weapon in their ongoing battle with Disney+. And then, get this, you have Sony Pictures, a rival studio, brought in to make the incredibly ambitious live-action Zelda movie. It's a complicated setup, for sure, but a really, really powerful one.
Okay, so whenever a new challenger steps into the ring, you have to take a long, hard look at the reigning champ. For decades, Disney has just seemed untouchable, right? The absolute king of family entertainment. But things are changing. The kingdom is under siege, and it's facing a threat that it might not be ready for.
When you actually line them up like this, the matchup becomes crystal clear. For every major pillar of Disney's empire, Nintendo has a powerhouse counterpart ready to go. Disney has princesses, Nintendo's got Peach and Rosalina. Disney's got Marvel, Nintendo has the Mario Brothers. Disney's got Star Wars, Nintendo's got the epic fantasy of Zelda. But that very last line, that's the real game changer. Disney sells you something to watch. Nintendo sells you something to do.
This quote absolutely nails the huge generational shift that's happening. Kids today aren't just growing up watching stuff on a screen. They're growing up inside these amazing, immersive video game worlds. They expect to be part of the story, not just watch it from the sidelines. And this is the one area where Disney, with all its power, has practically zero presence. It's the difference between watching a story and actually living it.
And we can actually put an age on this shift. One analyst mentioned that their 23-year-old daughter was probably in the last generation to be completely all in on Disney princesses. For pretty much everyone younger than that, it's the interactive characters on the Nintendo Switch that are dominating their world. This isn't some trend that's coming, it's the reality right now.
But let's be real for a second. None of this strategy, none of this challenging the throne stuff matters one bit if the movies are bad. The success of this entire thing rests on a single, massive, high-stakes bet on quality. And for one film in particular, good is not going to be good enough. It has to be perfect.
This is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? Nintendo is so protective of its characters for a very good reason. They know that one bad movie can damage a brand for years. So for both Nintendo and Netflix, this is a massive creative gamble. The potential reward is unbelievable, but the risk is just as huge. Can they actually pull it off? Now you have to understand, not all Nintendo movies are created equal. The animated Super Mario Bros. Movie was a gigantic success. It was fun, it was safe, and for its younger audience, it was just good enough. But Zelda is a completely different beast. The audience is older, the lore is so much deeper, and the stakes are way, way higher. For Zelda, good enough will be seen as an absolute failure. This movie isn't going to be compared to other video game movies. It's going to be compared to Star Wars, to Lord of the Rings. It doesn't just have to be good. It has to be a masterpiece.
This really shows you the incredibly tricky spot they're in. Look, the Mario fanbase is huge, but the Zelda fanbase, they are fiercely dedicated and have been waiting for this moment for decades.
They know the lore inside and out. A simple, fun little movie is not going to cut it. The film has to satisfy those hardcore fans while also being something a global audience who's never even touched a controller can enjoy. It is a creative tightrope walk over a massive canyon.
Okay, so let's zoom all the way out for the final, biggest piece of the puzzle. Because this fight is about way more than just movies or who sells more toys. It's about a fundamental revolution in how the next generation plays, how they engage with stories. We're talking about a completely new kind of playground.
This story just illustrates the shift perfectly. A father was completely stunned when his son chose a video game over a physical action figure. You know, for the dad's generation, the toy was the key to your imagination. But for his son's generation, the controller is the key. The digital playground is now more real, more important than the physical one. And that is a world that Nintendo already owns.
And this right here, this is the master plan. It is a powerful, self-reinforcing loop. A kid watches the new Zelda movie on Netflix, falls in love with the world and the characters. So what's the very next step? They beg their parents for a Nintendo Switch so they can become the hero they just saw on screen. The movies create the desire, and the games fulfill it. It's a direct funnel from being a passive viewer to an active player, and it's a kind of synergy Disney just can't match.
This chart just lays it all out perfectly. On one side, you have Disney, the master of the passive model. You sit back and watch. On the other side, you have Nintendo, the master of the interactive model. You pick it up and you play. And who's sitting right in the middle? Netflix. They are positioning themselves to be the essential bridge. Their entire bet is that they can be the gateway that turns the next generation of movie watchers into the next generation of game players.
And that brings us to the final, ultimate question. Entertainment itself is changing. It's evolving from something that's just told to us to something that we can actually be a part of. And as this huge shift from passive to interactive gets faster and faster, the real battle is for the imagination of the next generation. So, will they choose to just visit a magic kingdom? Or will they choose to pick up a sword and save the kingdom of Hyrule themselves?